Hey guys, it's Jill. Welcome back to my booktube channel. This video is going to be a reading vlog and I'm going to be reading the new release Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. This book released just this past week and I've been wanting and anticipating for this one because I've read a few books by Lynn Painter and I haven't given them like 4 or 5 stars, but I did think they were really cute and I think I gave them like both 3.5 stars, the two that I've read by her. But I'm excited for this one. It's a new adult, I believe, and all I really know going into it is that the FMC and the MMC are objectors that are hired to go to weddings, which I feel like will be pretty interesting to read about. Before I get too far into this video though, I did want to say that this video will contain spoilers for this book, but I'm going to get started now, and there honestly aren't too many pages. There's like less than 300, so I feel like I should be able to finish this one pretty quickly. Hey guys, it's the next day and I'm literally only on page 20 and I really didn't have much time to read yesterday. We had some friends over, so I barely got into this book at all. But so far the main female character is Sophie, the main male character is Max, and Sophie at the start, it's her wedding day, and unfortunately her soon-to-be husband is like a cheater. He's really gross and icky, and her friend actually hired an objector, that objector being Max, to object during the wedding. And Max, it doesn't really seem like he's super enthused with this whole objector side gig that he has. He kind of just does it for extra money. But Sophie, after the whole fiasco with the wedding that didn't end up happening, she doesn't really believe in love. All of her exes have cheated on her in the past, so she's talking to Max and is like, love pretty much like doesn't exist. And Sophie knew that her ex, soon to be, I guess would be ex-fiance, that he was cheating on her. However, his dad was her dad's boss, so she really felt like she couldn't call off the wedding because she thought her dad would definitely get fired as kind of like a payback if she called off the whole wedding, which really sucks. And she was even saying in the last few pages how it sucks to not have control in like your future and stuff. So as of the end of chapter 4, it seems like Max has kind of said, oh, like, I don't even remember what he said. Was he saying you could do this with me or something? Okay, so it seems like he was kind of making a joke of maybe it's your calling to be the objectress. And then she said it could be a fun side gig being the objectress to your objector. So it kind of seems like he's inviting her to do this whole thing with him. So I think that's probably what's going to happen next, because the next chapter, chapter 5, is a time jump 4 months later. So we'll see if they're at a wedding and if they're going to be objecting together. Okay, I'm now on page 73, chapter 14. Max ends up contacting Sophie to help him with a new objecting gig, which I wasn't exactly sure why he couldn't do it on his own. But anyways, he asked Sophie, can you do this for me because I can't do it for whatever reason it was. And Sophie was pretty reluctant at the start, but then she kind of agreed to it and was like, okay, I'll do this, but can you come with me and be there with me because I don't think I can do this on my own. Because she was pretty nervous about the whole thing, and she says that she doesn't really like getting herself involved in drama and with conflict and stuff, which is interesting because now she's kind of making this as her side gig. I think they kind of made it official that they're going to team up together and do these objecting gigs together now. So far I am enjoying this book. It's interesting because I feel like Lynn Painter is making pretty bad situations and is able to write about them in a lighthearted and fun way, even though for these couples and stuff, like, it really sucks the situations that they're in. I will say though, I feel like Sophie and Max, there's a little bit of insta love there, but since it's dual POV, you can tell from both of their perspectives that they're kind of into each other and attracted to each other right from the get-go. And I'm also flying through this. I'm already, like I said, on page 75, and I feel like, and I hope that I can get this finished today. Alright, I'm now on chapter 37, page 202, and I forgot to say before, but Sophie actually works with her ex-fiance, Stuart, and which was interesting to me. I thought she would have quit like right after their whole wedding thing that like didn't happen, I guess, but she ended up staying at the company, and I don't think he's her boss necessarily, but she still has to see him like every time she goes into work, which I don't know how she's doing that because that sounds awful, honestly. But I thought that she was kind of going to try to have the objecting as a side gig to eventually get out of her current position and then do objecting, but she's actually staying because she feels like she's going to get a promotion at this place sometime soon, which honestly I feel like that's not going to be happening, and then at the end she'll probably just quit that job. There's about 100 pages left, and honestly I'm not even sure what exactly is going to happen in these last 100 pages. It is definitely insta-lovey, like I was saying before. They're pretty much together at this point without the title, and they're also kind of friends with benefits too, which isn't my favorite trope, I would say. And there's also like this fake dating kind of situation because he's trying to convince his mom that he's in a relationship so that his mom is like happy for him and stuff, and it's like so silly, but his dad wants to buy a boat, and his dad is saying to him, well, like if you are in a relationship then your mom will let me buy a boat. It like doesn't even really make sense, honestly, but I'm honestly just here for the vibes at this point and here for the silly kind of fluffy romance that's happening. The last little bit, I would say 50 to 70-ish pages, I feel like not much has really happened even. At this point I can really tell that Max is into Sophie, but I feel like Sophie isn't really there or isn't feeling the exact same way for Max. And also the whole objecting thing, they had like one half of a chapter or like a really short chapter of them doing one more objecting gig, but other than that I feel like that whole kind of plot has kind of taken a back seat, which is fine. I feel like it would be repetitive if it was just Sophie and Max continuously going to weddings after weddings after weddings doing this objecting. But yeah, it's kind of funny how that was kind of like pushed to the side. But I think I'm going to be able to finish this really soon. Depending on what's happening, I might do 2 more check-ins, but if not much is going on, then I might just update at the end. Another thing that I forgot to mention was that Sophie's boss has kind of been on her because she feels like Sophie has been working too much and isn't, I don't know, enjoying life enough. So then part of this whole like fake dating scheme includes Sophie and Max posting each other on Instagram, which honestly is kind of like borderline cringy, I'm not gonna lie. Then in this last chapter, Sophie finds another gig for her and Max to do the objecting thing, but it ends up that Max isn't really interested because he thinks that it's actually his ex-girlfriend, fiance, I'm not sure what their status was, but it's his ex, Lily, and he doesn't tell Sophie this though. And what I'm getting from this is that this is what's going to drive the third act breakup. I don't know 100% yet whether this is going to be the third act breakup or not, but that's the vibe I'm kind of getting. But it's kind of silly because instead of just telling Sophie, yeah, this is my ex, or I think this is my ex, he just kind of says he's not interested and kind of says it rudely. So then she appears at the end of that conversation to be upset with him. So yeah, they should have just like communicated normally. But I'm now on chapter 41, so we'll see how this all plays out. The ending of this book was honestly so silly goofy that I was like kind of laughing the whole time. So Sophie decided to take the gig even though Max was like, please don't take this gig, I don't think you should do this. And then the two of them kind of communicate. Max tells her that it's his ex's wedding, but she is like, I don't really care, I'm going to do it anyways. Her thought process was kind of like she felt like she should get back at his ex because his ex hurt him and she likes him, if that makes sense. But they get in a little bit of a fight for her wanting to continue doing this gig. And then in like the next chapter, they get into another fight because he ends up warning his ex, telling her, hey, Sophie is going to object at your wedding, just letting you know, so maybe don't go through with the wedding, which obviously Sophie ends up finding out about, and she's like so hurt by that because she's out on the money and she just feels like he didn't care about her wanting to take the gig anyways, which I felt like I was definitely on his side for that because he said please don't do it and she was like, I don't really care what you think, I'm gonna do it anyways. Honestly though, it didn't really matter in the end because the conflict was resolved in like the next chapter or like the next few chapters. And then in the end, Sophie and Max get married. So it was definitely a pretty fast relationship, I felt like. I'm going to give this one 3 stars. I felt like it was entertaining, but like I said, the relationship was kind of a little too fast-paced for my liking. I felt like the development of the relationship and everything was just a little bit too rushed for my preference. I know I do prefer and enjoy more so those slow burn romances. However, I did finish this pretty quickly, pretty much all in one sitting, so it was entertaining enough for me to read it quickly. But those are all of my thoughts on Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you've read this book, I would love to hear your thoughts in a comment down below. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel for more book content, and I will see you guys next week in another video. Bye!